It would be tempting to believe that an obese person has more fat cells, but the quantity of fat cells does not change. What is different in the obese versus leaner person's fat cells is just the size. Scientists have known since the 1970s that the amount of fat cells in both thin and obese people is set during childhood and adolescence. Our first set of fat cells start developing in utero in the last trimester of pregnancy. But a research study by Sweden's 𝐂𝐞𝐥𝐥𝐬 Institute, their Department of Cell and Molecular Biology, used several different experiments to elaborate that point. Studies included counting cells, examining the effects of bariatric surgery, and using Cold War radioactive victims to figure out to what degree cells are replaced. And from counting cells, researchers were able to confirm that in both heavy and lighter people, the number of fat cells remains constant after time. The number of fat cells only changes during childhood. The researchers counted the fat cells of 20 people who were obese and had stomach stapling surgery to reduce their food intake. And when researchers measured these people again 2 years after the procedure, they found no reduction in fat cell number. They still had over 80 billion individual fat cells in their bodies despite losing an average of 18% of their body weight. Results were the same for people who had lost massive amounts of weight without surgery. Again, the number of fat cells remained the same. The Institute study team also did research by studying fat extracted during liposuction procedures from several dozen people who had lived through the period of Cold War atomic bomb testing from 1955 to 1963, when the atmosphere was briefly more radioactive than normal. Food grown and eaten during that period had elevated levels of an isotope called carbon-14, and they found that fewer fat cells showed a heavy dose of carbon-14 than might have been expected if these cells were never replenished. And this showed that the cells had been subject to turnover in the intervening decades. So the takeaway, during adulthood, about 8% of fat cells die every year, only to be replaced by new ones. As a result, adults, even those who have lost a massive amount of weight, have a constant number of fat cells. It's changes in the volume of fat cells that causes body weight to rise and fall as fat cells expand or shrink. Fat cells can proliferate in childhood, although not in adulthood, and this proves how important it is to keep children at a healthy weight while they are setting their number of fat cells. So although obesity tends to run in families, avoiding getting fat at a young age will help to establish a healthy number of fat cells for life. People with kids should ensure they have a healthy lifestyle. And that's today's Fat Chat. See you next time.